Hello! In this video we will see how to join granny squares using the mattress stitch. The mattress stitch is a sewing technique which doesn't require any crochet hook, but just a yarn needle, a pair of scissors and some yarn, which should be the same weight as the yarn that you use for your granny squares. In my case, I'm going to join these 4 daisy granny squares. I shared the video tutorial for how to make one of these squares in my last video, so you can check that out. One nice thing about the mattress stitch is that it's basically an invisible method for joining, because you see I use this cream yarn, but you can barely see it, maybe just here in the middle a little bit. But basically, along the sides of the granny squares, you cannot tell that there is any yarn joining these squares. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is to cut a piece of yarn, which should be approximately twice the length of the thing that we need to seam. So in my case, I'm gonna measure it on the granny squares directly. And then I always like to add a little bit more. I'm going to cut 2 strands like this, because I will need one for each direction. Alright, then we put one on the side. So once we have our length of yarn, we can thread it through our yarn needle. And we can get started. So we said that we're going to start from this side and go in this direction. So I'm going to put these 2 squares on the side and I'll focus on these 2. So the mattress stitch works through the back loops of the stitches. So maybe let's see with the pink one, which is more visible. So if you see, these 2 are the 2 top loops of this double crochet, for example, you see? So this is the back loop and this is the front loop. So with the mattress stitch, we are only going to work in the back loops of these, of all these stitches. So place the 2 squares next to each other, and then we're going to start from this corner. So I'm gonna go into the back loop only of this chain here at the corner on one of the granny squares. So to go through the back loop, we're gonna, for the mattress stitch, we're gonna go from the wrong side to the right side. Okay, so from behind your work to the right side of your work. And you're gonna slide the yarn through, leaving a little bit of tail for weaving in ends later. And then we're going to repeat the same on the corresponding chain on this other square. So always going from the wrong side to the right side, we're gonna go through the back loop only of this chain, okay? The chain that is the closest to the stitches here. Now, we're gonna go to the next stitch on the pink square, okay? The first one where we started. And we're gonna repeat the same. So we're gonna go through the back loop only, going from the wrong side to the right side. And we're gonna pull the yarn through, and now we go to the corresponding stitch on the other square from the wrong side to the right and pull. Then we go to the next stitch on the pink, go through the back loop only and pull the yarn, and repeat the same on this other stitch on the other square. And you basically keep going like this until you reach the next corner. When you get to the corner, make sure to join the first chain of the corner, okay, on one square and the other. And then you can enjoy the most fun part of the mattress stitch, which is pulling the yarn. So just pull this yarn, making sure not to lose this end here at the end. And you see your granny squares are joined. Now you can adjust the squares so that they're not shrinked or something, okay? And now we can actually start joining the next 2. And to join the next 2 squares, we're gonna do exactly the same as we did for these, the first 2. Since we ended up on this square on the left, we're going to start back from the right one and then go to the left. So we're gonna go through the back loop of this first chain here at the corner, so the one that is closest to the treble, from the wrong side to the right side, and then we go to the corresponding chain on the other square. And then we do the same as we did so far. So we go through the next stitch on the first square and through the corresponding back loop on the other square. And keep going until the end of these two squares. Okay, once you get to the end, again, let's pull the yarn tight. And make sure to keep the two squares next to each other. In any case, we're not going to weave in the ends for now, because first we are going to join in the other direction, then adjust the squares and only weave in the ends at the end. So we're going to take a second piece of yarn, the same length as the other one that we used. I already have it here. And we're going to repeat exactly the same as we did so far, but in this other direction. So I'm gonna turn my squares and I'm going to start joining from these two corners all the way up here. So when I'm joining here at the corner, I actually like to go through these two chains that we already joined in the previous direction to make the join at the corners a bit more stable. So I go through those two loops again, pull the yarn tightly, and continue on with these two other squares. And here it is. Once you're done joining your squares, make sure to adjust all of them to the same size. And once you're done with that, you can weave in your ends. I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.